Hey everybody, it's time for another pro wrestling series review. This is my WCW from 1998 through 2001 pay-per-view series review. This is a remade version. There was one from earlier this year of a incomplete WCW Bash at the Beach 2000 review. The reason I decided to do this because at the time when I did the first one, I couldn't find all of the WCW 2000 pay-per-views because the website I went to watch them on, all of the pay-per-views were removed. Then I managed to find a new website that has a lot of classic uploaded pay-per-views from various companies like WCW, ECW, and Classic Impact Wrestling. So I decided to retitle. I'll finish that other Bash at the Beach one, but this is the brand new intro to the brand new series I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing webcam and narration picture versions. So yeah, both the links to the previous and past versions will be in the description box below. Some of my favorites will have multiple reviews, one with every match on it, and some with some of my favorite and best matches from the card. So, with that being said, let's get started right now. Let's go back in time to when wrestling was great. Hey everybody, this is part 2 of my Remake WCW pay-per-view in 2000 review. This is the first part. This is the NWO 2000 era. Now, while this era is inferior to the next 3 eras I'm about to talk about, this era right here is the most exciting, and I think it gets a lot of unneeded flack and hate. I like the wrestlers featured, and I like the spots these wrestlers were quote unquote featured in. What I didn't like was, while around this time WCW was getting back to being WCW, WCW Monday Nitro especially, was they were trying to make Nitro like Raw, but at least it was easier to watch. This time they didn't. Not because this time they went back to 2 hours. This didn't save their lives, but it made their shows easier to watch. But yeah, like I said, this was the big NWO 2000 era. At this event, Kevin Nash had beaten Terry Funk for commissionership, and thus NWO 2000, which consisted of Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Jeff Jarrett, the Harris brothers, and briefly Bret Hart up until he had to retire, and Scott Steiner. These guys controlled WCW up until it was rebooted in April of 2000 at Spring Stampede. So Sid Vicious, Hulk Hogan, Sting, newcomer Vampiro, and mid-carders Booker T, Kidman, tweeners, the Mamalukes all feuded with the NWO 2000 and various other wrestlers. Like I said, besides the wrestlers I just mentioned, like I said, the entire NWO 2000, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Jeff Jarrett, the Harris brothers, Billy Kidman, the artist formerly known as Prince, who never really got over as a character, but I always thought was a cool character, and was one of the best cruiserweight wrestlers ever. You had Lash LaRue, Standard and Practices. These 3 wrestlers were the replacements for Y2J, and I thought they were freaking awesome replacements. You had 3 Count, Evan Courageous, Shannon Moore, Shane Helms. Then you had the Young Dragons, Kaz Hayashi, Jamie Sun, who would later become Jamie Noble, and Jimmy Yang, who would become Jimmy Wan Yang in WWE. And who else? Oh yeah, my boy the Mamalukes, Big Vito and Johnny the Bull Stromboli, managed by Disco Inferno. Diamond Dallas Page, who was taking time off during this time to film WCW Ready to Rumble, which was released later that year. Then you had who else? Oh yeah, then you had Sid Vicious. Like I said, Sid Vicious as your top babyface. This is my favorite era of Sid Vicious, the Millennium Man gimmick, and then as the top babyface of WCW for early 2000 and early 2001 up until his injury. And Vampiro, who was rising in popularity at this time. He was pushed at his best during this period in late '99. I hated what they did to him in the next part of this video, and that's the New Blood Millionaires Club storyline. Yeah, Vampiro, David Flair, Crowbar, Daphne, and Buff Bagwell, who I think he had to take time off of injury and returned later during the New Blood Millionaires Club storyline. But yeah, Buff Bagwell, Bit Finley, and Brian Knobbs of the Nasty Boys as a singles wrestler. Brian Knobbs, and the most overrated wrestler, the 90s and 2000s Orange Cassidy, and that is Screamin' Norman Smiley. You also had Terry Funk here, and Ric Flair, and Lex Luger with his best character, the Total Package. The Total Package. Oh, and I can't believe I forgot him. You had Dale Torborg, the Demon, one of WCW's coolest characters in mid-card acts. And you have the late Jerry Tweet, the Wall, and his huge monster push, and Bam Bam Bigelow. So yeah, you had a phenomenal roster. Like I said, the first pay-per-view was WCW Sold Out 2000. WCW Sold Out 2000. In my opinion, this is one of the greatest wrestling cards ever. I enjoyed every match, with, of course, the 4 to 5-time quadruple main events being the best. First, we had Tank Abbott defeating Jerry Lynn in an awesome shoot MMA style fight between, at that time, two of the biggest, toughest, and legitimate fighters in WCW, and Tank Abbott and martial artist Jerry Flynn. Then we had Buff Bagwell taking on Diamond Dallas Page in an awesome Attitude Era ECW style last man standing match.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the two opponents are in the ring, and they are ready.
Then the Wall, with Shane Douglas, defeated Billy Kidman in the last of Billy Kidman's Triple Threat Theater, which was supposed to be Jeff Jarrett, Bret Hart, and Benoit competing, but Jeff Jarrett and Bret Hart got injuries, so they put Kidman in this match. Then you had Kevin Nash defeating Terry Funk quite easily for a commissionership in WCW. I've always liked this match, and I still enjoy it today. I still enjoy this match today because as a child, I hated Kevin Nash, and now as an adult, I still hate Kevin Nash for what he was doing behind the scenes. This is one of the many storylines that blur real life and fantasy. So yeah, it's real easy to root for Terry Funk whenever I watch this. Then the main event for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship, Chris Benoit defeating and upsetting Sid Vicious in one of Sid Vicious's best matches. Chris Benoit led Sid to his greatest match ever. You have the powerhouse style of Sid Vicious versus the technical crafty style of Benoit. He worked on Sid's legs throughout the entire match and broke him down with chain wrestling holds and submission holds, and finally reversed his chokeslam into a crippler crossface. Sid tapped, and Chris Benoit became the new World Heavyweight Championship. I like this win over his iconic. I like this one better than his iconic WrestleMania 20 win, which is 4 years after this. In the undercard, you have Billy Kidman defeating Dean Malenko in the first of the triple threat in a catch-as-can match where the loser, whoever leaves or gets knocked out of the ring, loses. Dean Malenko got knocked out of the ring. Vampiro defeated David Flair and Crowbar with Daffney in a phenomenal handicap match. Big Vito and Johnny the Bull Disco Inferno defeated the Harris Brothers in an awesome tag team match. Oklahoma defeated Medusa with Spice in a pretty awesome intergender match for the Cruiserweight Championship, even though to this day I feel the Cruiserweight Championship should not have been involved. Then you have Brian Knobbs defeating Fit Finley, Norman Smiley, and Ming in a for the hard way WCW Hardcore Championship match, and Billy Kidman defeating Saturn in the last of the Bunkhouse Brawl match. Next, Booker T with Midnight defeated Stevie Ray by disqualification when Big T interfered. And laid out Booker T and threatened Midnight. And after this, Stevie Ray would form the newest Harlem Heat and completely throw Booker T out, trademarking his tights and everything. Next, we have Super Brawl Revenge. This is one of my all-time favorite pay-per-views because I remember watching and ordering this as a child. Yeah, nowadays it's funny when I grow up later, it's considered one of the worst pay-per-views WCW produced during that year. But I like it. It's one of my all-time favorites. I love the theme song. I love the build-up where they go through the entire card, and I liked while the wrestling and matches weren't as good as the other pay-per-views from WCW 2000, this was the ultimate WrestleMania style of card. The wrestling was good on this show, but a lot of matches, in my opinion, went all the matches with the exception of the World Tag Team Title match and Kidman and Vampiro. Kidman and Vampiro those matches were way too short. The time limits for these matches were way too short. In the opener, you had the Artist, formerly known as Prince Iaukea, with Paisley, WWE Sharmell defeating Lash LaRue for the vacant Cruiserweight Championship. Oklahoma had turned face and forfeited the title, so they crowned a Cruiserweight tournament. They hosted a Cruiserweight tournament featuring Prince Iaukea, Lash LaRue, and all the Cruiserweights, and Lash LaRue and Prince Iaukea were the finalists, and they met here for the vacant Cruiserweight Championship. Prince Iaukea, the Artist, I love the Artist gimmick, won with the Springboard DDT after a distraction from Paisley. Brian Knobbs with Fit Finley defeated Bam and Bigelow for the Hardcore Championship with Fit Finley's assistance. 3-count Evan Courageous, Shannon Moore, and Shane Helms defeated Norman Smiley in a pretty good handicap match considering the three involved. This is one of the matches I usually skip. The Wall defeated the Demon in an awesome featured special attraction match. This is the ultimate WrestleMania gimmick match. You have the big bodyguard Wall character in a suit wrestling the Dale Torward, the Kiss Demon. Wish it could have went on longer than it was and been featured higher on the card. Tank Abbott defeated Big Al in a leather jacket on a pole match where Tank Abbott defeated a Mysterious. To this day, I cannot find anything on this Big Al. He's not the late Al Green, the other guy who portrayed the dog around this time, who a lot of people confuse him with, but it's another Al. Someone from Tank Abbott's UFC days, from what I heard. But what is interesting is that nothing is known about this guy. 6 is Big T with Stevie Ray and Stevie Biggs. WWE's Ahmed Johnson taking on Booker T for ownership of the Harlem Heat franchise, with Big T defeat with I think his name is Cash GT Biggs, the guy from Masterpiece No Limit Soldier Stables, distracted Booker T, allowing Big T to hit the finisher on Booker T. This was Booker T being ruined as a main eventer. They took away his tights, his music, giving him this horrible Disneyland music, but setting him up to be a main eventer later. Billy Kidman with Tori Wilson defeated Vampiro in a phenomenal match, and probably what is match of the night. The Mamalukes, Big Vito and Johnny the Bull defeated David Flair and Crowbar Daphne in a cheesy but entertaining tag team match. The Sicilian Stretcher match, what I thought was cheesy, but a great tag team match. Ric Flair defeated Terry Funk in a Texas Death Match in what was also match of the night. I remember as a child, my friends did not understand why I was getting behind two middle-aged old geezers. WWE at the time had Rock, Austin, Triple H, Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, new guys like Kurt Angle and many more in the main events. And here was me here was WWE still having Hogan, Flair, Funk, Sting, and Luger, people like old people in the quote-unquote main events at the time. But these guys showed they were worthy of their spot, and they still proved in 2000 these two still had it. I still want to see this feud. I still enjoy this match today. Hulk Hogan defeated the Total Package in an awesome match. Not as this was a phenomenal fight. Not the technical display their 1995 encounter was, but a great match. Always an exciting match when these two wrestle. One of my memorable moments was afterwards. Total Package, Flair and Elizabeth were on the attack on Hogan at the end, and coming to his rescue was his old rival Sting. Coming to his rescue was his old rival Sting. I remember that being one of the coolest and most heroic moments in wrestling. Then the awesome main event with Sid Vicious taking on Scott Hall and Jeff Jarrett with Michael Buffer not even being able to finish the in-ring announcements. The in-ring announcements of Sid Vicious. As soon as Sid Vicious hits the ring, they all start fighting, and Scott Hall does a signature taunt telling Sid and Jeff Jarrett, you two fight. This match is notable because this pay-per-view, this match will be the last appearance of Scott Hall in WCW. He will later be fired in September of that year, 2000. But this will be the last pay-per-view appearance of Scott Hall, man. Scott Hall. But for as long as it lasted, what an awesome match. Piper, referee Slick Johnson, the Harris brothers got involved. Sid Vicious won with the powerbomb onto Jarrett for the 1, 2, 3, thus retaining his WCW title. But yeah, Super Brawl Revenge, while it considered one of the worst pay-per-views from 2000, this pay-per-view has some childhood nostalgia for me. It's one of the weaker pay-per-views of 2000, but I remember watching and ordering this as a child, and I, to this day, still enjoy it. So many awesome memories of this pay-per-view right here. Uncensored 2000, I thought one of WCW's best shows ever of WCW 2000. You get a phenomenal undercard and an awesome triple threat series main events. You had in the opener the Artist with Paisley defeating Psychosis with Juventud Guerrera. The late great Chris Candido made his debut at the event during this match on commentary, and I think he got involved in the match too. Juventud and both Paisley got involved in the match also. This is one of Psychosis' last appearances because I think he will be released shortly after this. This is one of his last appearances in WCW. 2 is Norman Smiley and the Demon defeating Lane and Rave. Lane and Rave in a awesome tag team match. I love seeing Norman Smiley wrestle like and dress like the Dale Torborg the Demon. Dale Torborg the Demon is always awesome to watch, and Lane and Rave were awesome characters, and alongside Lashley were awesome replacements for Y2J. They were dressed like Jericho was dressed during this era. 3, Bam and Bigelow defeating The Wall by disqualification. This match was short, but it was entertaining. I especially loved the choke slam and the way Bam and Bigelow sold The Wall's choke slam. The Wall was reproduced as a monster heel who was causing injuries to everyone. Then you had Brian Knobbs defeating 3 count Evan Courageous Shannon Moore and Shane Helms in what I consider would have to be the weakest match on the card. Even this 3-on-1 handicap hardcore match was entertaining. Who would have thought Brian Knobbs 3 count being in a match would be awesome. 5, another favorite of mine, Billy Kidman and Booker T with Troy Wilson defeating Harlem Heat 2000, Big T and Stevie Ray with Cash and J Big, setting Booker T up for the main events and setting Billy Kidman up for the main event too, though Kidman wasn't ready for the main event. But the matches like this set him up for the big April 2000 Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff, New Blood Millionaires Club storyline. So next is Vampiro defeating Fit Finley in what is considered match of the night in an awesome Falls Count Anywhere where they brawled everywhere, into the backstage area, into the bathrooms, everywhere. Oh yeah. 7. The Harris brothers, Ron and Don, defeated the Mamaloons, Big Vito and Johnny the Bull, with Disco Inferno and another awesome tag team match. The Mamaloons were tweeners here. They were heels, but they also feuded with other heels like the Harris brothers. Dustin Rhodes defeated Terry Funk in an awesome bull rope match. Sting defeated a Total Package with Elizabeth in an awesome lumberjack match. Sid Vicious defeated Jeff Jarrett in one of his best matches. During this period, Jeff Jarrett led him to one of his best matches with interference from Hogan, and Hulk Hogan defeated Ric Flair in the hilarious but cheesy but awesome Yampani Indian strap match. To close out the show. Like I said, one of my all-time favorite pay-per-views from WCW 2000. WCW 2000. Like I said, I love this era of WCW 2000. The storyline, which was the big NWO 2000, them running the show, controlling everything, but also having dissension between each other, setting up the Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo storyline. I love Prince Ikea as cruiserweight champion. I love the hardcore division with Brian Knobbs, Screaming Norman Smiley, 3 count, Bam Bam Bigelow. I love the monster push of the wall. Vampiro's monster babyface push, which they screwed up in the next era, the Millionaires New Blood feud by turning him heel and having Sting beat him in every encounter and moving him down the card. And Luke Luger Total Package had his coolest character, the Total Package, during this period. I love Booker T's slow rise through the mid card into what would later be the main event later this year. His whole story arc, which began at the last 2 pay-per-views. So and Hulk Hogan, Flair, old people like Hulk Hogan, Flair, Sid Vicious, Lex Luger, the Total Package. And Sting, they still had it. They were still worthy of their spots. But I really wish Hogan, Flair, and Nash especially could have put over the younger talent when you were still on top. But yeah, I chose WCW 2000 first because I feel this era was underrated. It gets a lot of unneeded hate. I thought 99 was a worse year for WCW, which I'm going to get to when I get to the 99 pay-per-view series. Well, anyway, this was my review of WCW 2000, the first part of my re-review of WCW 2000, NWO 2000 era. You don't want to hear the rest of the music. Turn the video off right now.
With my